We have multiple updates regarding the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback position. Russell Wilson is waiting for Aaron Rodgers to make his decision, as are a lot of other teams. But while that's happening, a dark horse candidate has emerged as the next Steelers starting quarterback. And it's not Russell Wilson. It's not Aaron Rodgers. If you want to know who it is, you're going to have to listen to the rest of the video. But for now, let's talk about Rodgers. Let's talk about Wilson. And let's talk about what's going on with the Steelers quarterback position. The most important position on the football field, and the Steelers have the most questions surrounding that position. They did sign Mason Rudolph. That's a good thing, but we still need a starting quarterback unless it's going to be Mason Rudolph. So there's a lot to dive into here on Steelers Digest. Before we get into it, I want you guys to subscribe to the channel. 95% of you have not yet subscribed, so hit that sub button, and we will keep you up to date on the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news, rumors, updates, and analysis throughout this offseason, an eventful offseason that started with a lot of rumors, and now the rumors are becoming true. Russell is ready to sign, but he has to wait for Aaron Rodgers. He is down to two teams, the Steelers and the Giants. The problem is, Aaron Rodgers is down to three teams, the Vikings, the Steelers, and the Giants. So Russell has expressed his interest in possibly returning to the Steelers or signing with the Giants. Quarterback suitors have emerged, but they are waiting on Aaron Rodgers to make a decision. So that tells you that all of these teams are prioritizing signing Aaron Rodgers over Russell Wilson. They think Rodgers is the better quarterback of the two, and Russell Wilson is simply a backup plan, a plan B, if you will. So with that being said, the Giants, the Steelers, the Vikings, they're all waiting on Aaron Rodgers to make his decision. Somehow, he is everybody's favorite free agent quarterback at the moment, and Rodgers is standing by while Wilson also stands by with a pen in his hand ready to sign a contract as soon as Aaron Rodgers makes a decision, which will impact what team is going to sign Russell Wilson. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, the former Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson and possible Giants prospect is ready to sign with either of those two teams, but Rodgers has to make up his mind first. We're playing dominoes, and we're waiting for that first domino to fall, and that first domino has to be Aaron Rodgers. Wilson signed a one-year deal with the Steelers last offseason and has been vocal about his intentions to return to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He loves Pittsburgh. He loves the team. He loves the city. He doesn't mind staying there for a little bit longer if the Steelers want him, but they want Rodgers more, and I can't really attest to that. I don't know why they want Rodgers more than Russell Wilson. The Steelers are pursuing Rodgers. They've not hidden their intentions to go after Aaron Rodgers, but also Russell Wilson is just sitting there waiting. He's being very patient and just understanding that this is the process that he has to go through in order to find his next team. And while he waits, he made a visit to both New York to visit the Giants and Cleveland to visit the Browns, though Fowler from ESPN described the latter of more of a getting to know you kind of thing, less of a hard business transaction. So the Browns is not really a place that Russell Wilson or probably any quarterback, no offense to the Browns, would ever want to go. The Giants may be a little bit more of a tempting destination because of all the young talent that they're building on that team. You know, Tyrone Tracy, Malik Neighbors, they have some talent. Whereas I can't say the same about the Cleveland Browns because they are the Cleveland Browns. But you know how us Steelers fans feel about the Cleveland Browns as we move into the second half of this report, and it appears that Wilson's future is hanging in the balance of Aaron Rodgers' decision, who is also considered retirement. So that is something that has popped up recently. It was already part of the storyline, but it's becoming more and more relevant because Aaron Rodgers' preferred destination is Minnesota. If Minnesota doesn't want Aaron Rodgers, which the chances are they don't want Aaron Rodgers as far as what I've heard, Rodgers could just decide to retire and not play for the Steelers or the Giants, and that is definitely a possibility at this point, knowing Aaron Rodgers and knowing, you know, the way that he makes decisions and is able to draw out this type of process. He could easily just say, hey guys, forget it, I'm retiring, and then the Steelers could be left without a quarterback, and that's really how it could all go down, and that'll be the next part of this video here in just a moment. But first, I want to talk about what Russell Wilson has been posting on social media, because the Steelers quarterback situation started to look grim there for a little bit, but Wilson has seemingly swooped in to save the day for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was reported on Saturday by insider Diana Rossini that Rodgers was more interested in signing with the Vikings and leaving the Steelers QB list, but Wilson began posting several Pittsburgh Steelers stories on social media, starting with a happy birthday message for head coach Mike Tomlin. So that tells you that Russell Wilson is still thinking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's also making posts about DK Metcalf and talking back and forth with DK, his former wide receiver from Seattle. He's got good chemistry and good banter there with DK already. We've already seen the connection with him and George Pickens. The deep ball with Russell Wilson having DK on one side and Pickens on the other is actually a pretty scary thing to think about, knowing that there's no better deep ball thrower in the league than Russell Wilson. And I don't think that's really a stretch, because he's proven over and over again that moon ball is one of a kind in the NFL. And maybe that's what Russell needed, was DK Metcalf, in order to really thrive in our offense, instead of, George Pickens always being his first read. You can't double team both of those guys. So those are two big body receivers that can go up and get it. That could change our offense. Maybe the quarterback wasn't the problem to begin with. Maybe Russell Wilson would thrive in that system, the same system that he had a little bit of success in, if we have DK Metcalf in there for him to throw the ball to. So then we get to our next topic, which is a kind of a branch off of what I already said. Aaron Rodgers could retire and leave the Pittsburgh Steelers without a quarterback. And, they're waiting this entire time to see, hey, can we get Aaron Rodgers? Can we get Aaron Rodgers? Pursuing Rodgers, valuing him higher than Russell Wilson and the other options that are out there. But there is a possibility that Aaron Rodgers would retire and then Russell Wilson would sign with the Giants and the Steelers would have nobody. And I'm going to tell you who the dark horse candidate is that could also swoop in and save the day for the Steelers here in just a little bit. For a week, the Steelers have just been sitting here along with the New York Giants, waiting for Rodgers to make his decision and say, what team do I want to play for this next season, or do I not want to play at all? So a new report from The Athletic says that these teams could be waiting for nothing, because according to that report, Rodgers, waiting for the Vikings, is also contemplating retirement if that is not on the table for him. So if the Vikings are not willing to offer Aaron Rodgers a contract to get a little bit of revenge against his former team, the Green Bay Packers, he is not maybe interested in signing with either the Steelers or the Giants, which would mean the Giants are going to go all in on Russell Wilson and the Steelers are going to be stuck with Mason Rudolph. So that is a legitimate possibility at this point, that Aaron Rodgers could just opt for retirement instead of putting on a Pittsburgh Steelers or New York Giants jersey. And if that happens, well, I have a solution for you guys, Steelers Nation. Dark horse has emerged to be the next quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you know what, guys? If you want an old quarterback, an ancient quarterback that we basically recruited from the retirement home, and I'm referring to Aaron Rodgers, but I'm also referring to this option that just recently emerged as a candidate to be the Steelers' next quarterback. His name is Joe Flacco. 40-year-old quarterback could be the backup plan for the Steelers if Aaron Rodgers decides to retire. Joe Flacco still wants to ball, and he has shown that he still can ball if he wants to keep playing. The Pittsburgh Steelers could be like, you know what? Let's go get the former Raven, the former Brown, and let's let him throw up deep balls to DK Metcalf and George Pickens. And the Steelers, waiting on Rodgers. The Giants waiting on Rodgers. The Browns, well, they're still the Browns. And in Pittsburgh, there is buzz that the 41-year-old Rodgers doesn't want to give the Steelers a yes, which means they might turn to another ancient warrior for help. Would you believe this? Joe Flacco coming in to save the day for the Pittsburgh Steelers. All three teams, it's a matter of money. It's a matter of availability. How much does Wilson want in his new contract? How much does Aaron Rodgers want? For Wilson, it might come down to a backup role somewhere or remaining unsigned until the season. And then another starter might go down due to an injury. And then they're like, hey, Russell Wilson, we need you. But what about Joe Flacco? Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk reported Saturday that Pittsburgh is among the three teams with links to the former Super Bowl champion quarterback, Joe Flacco. And Florio suggests that Flacco might be a better move, the best move for the Steelers at a cheap price. We're not so sure about that, but what we do know is that Flacco is 40, Rodgers is 41, and there is nothing best move about any of that. And in the end, nothing will move until Aaron Rodgers does. Everybody is waiting on Rodgers. The Steelers are one of the teams that wants Rodgers, but they have to wait for him to make a decision because all these offers are on the table for Aaron Rodgers. He's waiting on Minnesota, but they haven't given him a yes. They're okay with moving forward with J.J. McCarthy is how it sounds. They let Sam Darnold go to the Seahawks. All these quarterback dominoes are falling, and the Steelers are left here in a situation where they might not get a quarterback. Rodgers retires. Wilson signs with the Giants. The Steelers are stuck with Mason Rudolph and a rookie. They might not even go get a rookie quarterback. We don't know what options are going to be available in the draft. Do they want Jackson Dart? Do they want to go after Will Howard? I mean, what are they going to do in the draft? Is there a legitimate answer out there for the Pittsburgh Steelers? So many options, even at this point with all the dominoes falling. We have no idea what's actually going to happen, but I just felt the need to tell you guys, hey, these are the options that they do have. It's going to be Rodgers, it's going to be Wilson, it's going to be Flacco, or it's going to be Rudolph. That's realistically our only options at this point in time. Darnold's off the table. You know, a lot of other quarterbacks like Justin Fields, who we were pursuing, off the table. It's tough. It's tough. Kirk Cousins is seeming to be off the table. Do we trade for Anthony Richardson? I mean, there's still a lot of possibilities out there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we're going to continue to give you coverage throughout the offseason about what is most likely to happen, what could happen, and then what's less likely to happen. And right now, Rodgers contemplating retirement if the Vikings do not give him a contract, which would mean the Steelers either go to Russell Wilson, try to outbid the New York Giants, or they go get Joe Flacco. I can't say with confidence who our next starting quarterback is going to be, but I do know Mason Rudolph is already on the roster, and that's about it. So do we go after Rodgers? Do we go after Wilson? Do we go after Joe Flacco? An infinite number of possibilities still for the Pittsburgh Steelers, including drafting a rookie quarterback. So continue to stay tuned to this channel. Hit the sub button if you haven't already, and we will continue to provide the latest updates, whether they're rumors or analysis or news regarding the Pittsburgh Steelers. Any updates that we have, we will provide to you guys here on Steelers Digest. So hit that sub button and we'll keep you up to date. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.